Welcome to the Breaking Balls YouTube channel. It is our first Sunday without NASCAR in a very long time. And Bob, I feel like I am wandering through the desert of this summer right now. I have no idea what to do. I had to be a functioning member of my family on this Sunday. I'm lost, my friend.
This is what normal people do on Sunday. You go out, you see your family, you go to dinner, you socialize with people. It's overrated. I'd rather watch cars going 180 miles an hour on track. I think that I have made my right decision here on Sundays.
I would kill for a side-by-side commercial break at the moment. And that should let you know a lot of where I'm at mentally without seeing a race today. But I figure we take a little bit of time now that the dust is starting to settle a little bit to recap. You know, we've had some time to exhale on a lot of the news that kind of comes out week to week in the sport. And, well, we got a lot of new faces going to a lot of different places next year.
New faces, and then some guys that you've seen in the Cup Series garage for a long time change. It's going to be weird to see here, Ad, because I guess if you haven't been following along with the channel, first of all, go ahead and subscribe because you're out of the loop with Breaking Balls. We've covered a lot of this, but we haven't said it all in one place. So I guess, Ad, let's go ahead and just start with the big domino that fell when everyone was supposedly off this week with this 2-week Olympic break. Corey LaJoie got fired on his day off. Let's not cover it here. Let's not sugarcoat it here.
It's a bummer for Corey LaJoie. Kind of caught me by surprise a little bit. Ultimately, it's one of those situations where if you're surprised, you weren't paying attention because he struggled mightily this year. Hasn't got a ton of results to show for his career with Spire, but still has felt like kind of the guy who's been holding the garage together for a long time. And now he's gone. My knee-jerk reaction is good on Spire. It shows that they are looking to win, and they're looking to win now. I feel for Corey LaJoie because obviously, I don't know where he necessarily goes from here, but if you're looking at it from Spire's perspective, it's got to kind of excite you that they're looking for someone to really get results in that 7th car.
They're not complacent, and I like to see that from any organization. You want more. You're not okay with finishing 20th, 25th. Corey LaJoie, outside of the season opener, has had zero top 10s the entire season. His rookie teammates are outrunning him, and when you're in year 4 as a veteran driver, you're 32 years old, you're supposedly in the prime of your career, at some point the excuses become null and void. And I think at this point for Corey LaJoie and Spire, it just became too much to ignore with the Kyle Busch Pocono incident, all of that. You have someone like Rodney Childers coming in at big hire here. We're covering silly season. Rodney Childers, that might have been the biggest free agent domino of all of them there. The former crew chief of Kevin Harvick and now Josh Berry, leaving Stewart-Haas. You're going to be competitive if you're Rodney Childers' driver. And they don't think Corey LaJoie is clearly cut out. Somebody, though, that let's stay on the Spire side that is capable, I think, of Rodney Childers' guidance. And maybe they'll pair them together here. I don't know. Michael McDowell leaving front row after a long tenure in that 34 car. Ad. I know he is your guy. I'll let you have the floor here. But listen, a guy that has been begging for multi-year deals at FRM finally gets one from Spire. It's nice to see.
Yeah, this was a deal that he's been really wanting for years, and for whatever reason, FRM didn't want to give it to him, and he walked. You got to respect it. Obviously, it gives him a ton of security, just that extra year, that little bit of cushion just to kind of know that he's building something, and he has that next year. I think that's huge. Just from a driver's perspective, I can't imagine driving on a 1-year deal every single year. It would almost feel like you're just cranking the pressure up every week to get that result. I think as far as Michael McDowell at Spire goes, you just kind of have to copy-paste what we were talking about with the LaJoie move. It clearly shows that Spire is trying to make moves that are going to make an impact now. It's a veteran presence, a guy who's won races. He's won different types of races too. Obviously, the super speedways. He's shown success at road courses. As far as filling a seat, you can do way worse than Michael McDowell. So you got to give a ton of credit to Spire because they just keep doing things to try and improve their race team.
He is exactly what they've thought Corey LaJoie should be. A multi-winner in the Cup Series, a veteran presence for a young team who is trying to grow into a bigger empire in the NASCAR Cup Series. You've got Carson Hocevar in his rookie season. Zane Smith is a rookie there. They're looking at Corey LaJoie for leadership. Next year, that's going to be Michael McDowell, a guy who is almost like a dad to some of these guys. I mean, he's old enough to be Carson Hocevar's dad at this point. Listen, I think it's very, very cool to see them take a swing on a guy like Michael McDowell, who has always been a guy who's been in, average equipment there, but he's getting a shot.
So let me ask you this though, Bob. If it's not Michael McDowell in the 7 car, who do you think drives that ride next year? I mean, do you think with the veteran presence of McDowell, they feel comfortable enough to put a young guy in that seat? Do you think they look for more of a veteran presence? You hear Twitter going crazy talking about Kyle Busch maybe getting in that seat somehow, some way. The
Twitter fingers,
Warriors
those
draft.
Twitter fingers are going. Oh
No.
man, they are going. Ad. No, I've seen that rumor. Listen, I don't think we are that far gone yet.
No.
I definitely think they're going to call RCR about Kyle Busch, who's in the worst year of his life, clearly. But listen, I don't think we're going to see that yet. I wouldn't be shocked if they move Michael McDowell. He was originally supposed to be in that 71 that Zane Smith is in. If they move him into that flagship 7 car that is Spire. But if they don't add, maybe they keep Zane Smith. Maybe Trackhouse leases him back out there. We're going to get to Trackhouse later, but it seems like they've got so many guys in the kitchen. Maybe that they keep things status quo with Zane Smith or someone like a Sam Mayer. Potential Michael McDowell could literally be a dad for Carson Hocevar and Sam Mayer if they ever get into some antics on the track. He can grab him by the collar in the garage. Oh guys, what are you doing? Give him some room out there. You crowded him. Listen, I really don't know. I think we've had kind of an inkling for a lot of these rides that are still open, and this 7 car, not only because it's fresh, but they could go so many different directions. I really don't know what they're going to do here.
Yeah, and I think Sam Mayer was the one that really came to my mind. I think if you're going to take a big swing at a young guy, I think he's definitely got to be on your short list. So I'm just very intrigued to see what they're going to end up doing. The other intriguing, we'll call it, move of this offseason was the death of Stewart-Haas Racing. It's been kind of unexpected. There was a lot going on.
Whoa. Death is called Haas Factory Team. They've rebranded. No, it's dead. It's dead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's dead. Come on. I was going to say, let's speak truthfully here. But, like you said, Haas Racing Team is going to continue on. Joe Custer is going to be in charge of all of the, the competition side of things at Haas Racing. Which brings me to my first...
Joe Custer's leading his team? Who do you think he picked as a driver, Ad? I can't even guess who he picked.
Man, I don't know, but I've been hearing there's this really talented kid out of Ladera Ranch, California, has been given a chance in the Cup Series before, and I think his name is Cole... God, I don't know. His name's familiar to that Joe, guys. Oh, Cole Custer, of course, Joe's son. Yes, duh.
Listen, they've got 4 drivers at SHR right now as they're disbanding, downsizing, I guess is the correct term there. And out of the 4 drivers, not a single one of those 4 drivers is going to be the driver for that 00 next year. I get it. Cole Custer winning the Xfinity Series championship last year. He's earned the benefit of getting another shot, already winning a Cup Series race in his career. Listen, I'm not here to slander Cole Custer. I think he'll do fine. It's just interesting to see how they've done this, with, we might as well get into it now, Ad. You got Josh Berry, Noah Gragson, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece, all looking for rides next year. 3 of those guys have signed here. Josh Berry to the Wood Brothers 21, Noah Gragson to the unnumbered FRM charter yet. They haven't given that out yet. Chase Briscoe to the JGR 19 because Martin Truex Jr. is a very private man. We'll give him the respect. He is retiring. We give him respect. We'll give him his privacy. He will be fishing every single day. And then there's Ryan Preece looking for a job ad. Where do we want? What jumps out to you out of these 4 guys? Where do we want to start?
I don't know where to start with the SHR diaspora, but I'll give you my quick hits here. Josh Berry to the 21. I think that's a great opportunity for him. A guy who really has, from a pure racing standpoint, has earned that opportunity. Very excited to see what he does with that little bit of Penske support. Noah Gragson to the FRM car. That's another guy who, kind of a little bit of a rough patch. We won't get into it, but, obviously has shown a lot of success this year and really seems to be coming into his own in the Cup Series. So I think that's a bang-on hire for FRM. Still wondering what number he's going to run, but at the end of the day, here we are. Chase Briscoe to JGR is an interesting one to me because it just doesn't seem like the caliber of driver that you would expect to fill that 19 seat. Especially, coming from the Ford camp, it was kind of one of those head scratchers for me, but very interested to see what Chase Briscoe will do. We're definitely going to figure out, who has been more of the issue in his relationship with SHR to this point, because, hasn't been a ton of success. Obviously, got a win last year at Phoenix and but this year has been relatively quiet. So very interested to see what his future looks like. And speaking of what his future looks like, poor Ryan Preece, my man. I don't know where Ryan Preece ends up. It's not very clear where he's going to slot in. Kind of a victim of circumstance, and really a lesson to young drivers everywhere of the importance of really vetting the opportunities that you're getting, and kind of really taking a hard look and saying, okay, where do I fit in? Because right now, Ryan Preece certainly feels like he's on the outside looking in, especially at a Cup Series ride.
I'm glad you said that about young drivers. It's not about this year. It's about 2 and 3 years. It's about being steps ahead of the game and seeing what's going to happen here, because Ryan Preece waited years and turned down opportunities for this SHR ride only to get it for 2 years before they completely folded there. I look for him potentially to maybe stay on as the Haas factory team on the Xfinity side. They're going to keep 2 cars there. Maybe him and Haley Deegan, they've talked about her potentially being out there. Listen, that's a whole different conversation here. I think Ryan Preece, just by victim of circumstance, is going to find himself probably as an odd man out and going to have to run somewhere in Xfinity or trucks. But hopefully it's a very competitive ride to where he can be like a Cole Custer, a couple of years, maybe 1 year, couple of wins, gets himself right back into contention next silly season for a ride. But, Josh Berry, just to be quick here, Penske affiliate in that 21 car. They run really good short track programs. Josh Berry, very good at short tracks. That could be a guy that really captures lightning in a bottle at a Martinsville or a Dover next year. Noah Gragson, I think it's going to be just finding his footing and keeping the momentum that he has this year of just consistency. That's the biggest thing, is consistency in the Cup Series. And Chase Briscoe, yeah, you're right. It's an interesting move there. That's a flagship car and a guy he's got name brand recognition and has always been a hot rising prospect without the results. A really good early on campaign. Then when the next gen car and Stewart-Haas got together, it just was not a good mesh. So you really can't probably vet it clearly. But when Chase Briscoe has been in the front, he's had incidents. And so I'm really interested to see, does Chase Briscoe go out and win a race or 2 next year? If not, that pressure is going to be on, because you've already got Ty Gibbs as a young driver at Joe Gibbs. Another guy not winning consistently. Now the pressure's on for Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell. So that's just a whole different hierarchy. But listen, we're talking about what ifs, so we might as well just stay in the what if category, because there are still a couple of dominoes that have not fallen. We have talked about the Spire 7. That's open. But with this SHR closing, a couple of charters still haven't been sold. FRM bought one. We've talked about that. Trackhouse 2311 are probably those 2 that are buying the rest. I guess let's start with FRM, though, in that extra charter ad. Because I don't have any idea. Who the hell is driving that car?
I don't know, and I feel like it may be a name that kind of comes out of left field, just given, how Front Row, has kind of done things. They seem to kind of zag when everybody else is zigging, if that makes any sense. So I don't know. I'm kind of expecting a name to really come out of nowhere. I mean, I don't know. I have so many questions about this scene.
Yeah, you're leading me into this, because I don't think I've seen anybody float this out here. And I was sitting in bed the other night, and I had an Xfinity race on the background from earlier this year. Nobody's talked about it, but everyone's thrown Sam Mayer out and all these young guys. What if somebody took a flyer on a Jesse Love, who has really, really, really shown great race pace as a rookie in the Xfinity Series, dominated the ARCA Series? Jesse Love is going to be in a Cup Series one day. What's to say a team like Front Row doesn't take a leap and get him early on in his career? I'm just putting the tinfoil hat on here for a minute, Listen, that's something to watch. 2311 is the team that it looks like is going to fill a charter with an Xfinity driver with Riley Herbst. I don't really know what to think of that. It just kind of feels underwhelming.
It does feel underwhelming, but I won't necessarily question Denny Hamlin's eye for talent. I think it's one of these rare instances where you have somebody who currently races in the Cup Series making decisions for a Cup Series team. Obviously, you've got Brad Keselowski over at RFK, but, Denny seems to be a lot more hands-on with this pick. You saw his, the short tweet after we saw Riley Herbst basically drift his way through turn 4 at Indianapolis. And it's an interesting thing. I think Riley Herbst is definitely going to be a little bit of a project in the Cup Series, but why not? You seem to have 2 drivers that you're pretty confident in with Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace. Why not take a flyer on a guy like Riley Herbst and see if it works out for you?
Well, the other charter that is still open that we think is going to go to Trackhouse Racing, sounds like that there's 2 guys they're down to, and really the last month or 2, it really seems like it's one guy. They're going to take a flyer on this young guy from New Zealand, Shane Van Gisbergen. You may have heard of him. Won the Chicago Street Race last year, 3-time Supercars champion. Just wheels everything he's in. It seems like this is going to be SVG in that third Trackhouse car ad. But Zane Smith is under contract there as well, and in theory could be pulled back in from his loan at Spire. It seems like this is SVG though, right?
Yeah, nice flag behind you before I get into my analysis. But no, I agree with you 100%. It's one of those things where SVG, anytime you go to a road course, you have a chance to win. And the more road courses we keep adding to the schedule, the more chances that gets you to get into the playoffs. I think SVG is the smart pick here. I think, obviously, I think Zane Smith is going to have a very, very, beautiful full NASCAR career. I just don't think this is necessarily the time to put him in that ride.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Just before we kind of wrap up here, Kaulig does have 2 cars that are in theory open next year. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I'm sure there'll be some overflow. Maybe Zane Smith or an SVG gets sent over there just because there's literally not enough seats at a team. But I really don't know what to do with Kaulig Racing, and I never will ever since they've shelved my dinger.
Yeah, at this point, we don't get paid enough to talk about Kaulig Racing when they're, it's the off week and everything. So we'll go ahead and gloss right over that.
Well, there you go. Anything else that we missed here as far as silly season or anything you're looking forward to before we wrap up here?
No, I just, I wish NASCAR was an Olympic sport at this point, so that way we could just kind of slide them into all this extra coverage. It would have been kind of nice, but I feel like America would dominate a little bit.
I'm glad you said something about the Olympics. Stay tuned for our channel here at Breaking Balls. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel. Might have something Olympic related coming up this week. That might be on the horizon here. Never know. We'll just see what news breaks here. If any charters finally sell here. It seems like we're waiting on the levy to break here, Ad. That's what I'm waiting for, is just these next 2 charters to go. And then once that happens, it seems like everything will kind of settle into place there. But yeah, it's never dull here at NASCAR, it seems.
Nope, always something to talk about, even when there's nothing going on off the track. But when we return to the track, we will be covering all of the action. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, to catch all of the videos. Bob does a great job during the week of putting content out. We just try and hit you from all sides, making sure you got full NASCAR coverage here at the Breaking Balls channel.
Now that there's any studio shows on TV, we have to be the People's Network. So go ahead and follow along for more, folks. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.